Hey everyone, my name is Nishant and I am your instructor for today. Today we are going to cover three concepts. We're going to talk about placebo effect, we're going to talk about control versus treatment groups, and finally we're going to get to what a double-blind experiment is. Now before we get to any of these concepts, let's knock a fundamental question out of the way. The question is, what is an experiment and what is it used for? Now an experiment is a process, a method to collect data to understand the world around us. Let me give you a simple example. Suppose I want to make a nice cheesecake. And I don't have a recipe, right? So I am going to experiment with different ingredients and hopefully collect data on what composition works well, what does not, and refine my process over time. For the purpose of today's lecture, we're going to talk about experiments within the clinical realm. With that out of the way, let's get to our first topic, which is the placebo effect. Now, a placebo is something that has no proven medical effects, right? A placebo is usually a pill, but it could be a liquid, it could be solid, gaseous, anything. Now, let's take an example of a boy named Tom, right? Tom is suffering from a banging headache, and I give him a sugar pill. But I tell him that it's a headache pill that's going to cure his headache. And magically in an hour, he gets cured of his headache symptoms. Now, this is what's known as a placebo effect. I gave him something that has no proven medical effect, but because humans suffer from psychological bias, John cured himself of his headache, right? And that's what the placebo effect is. We have knocked that out of the park. And that brings us to the next topic. Now, where is a placebo used? A placebo is administered in the control group. And to understand the distinction between the control and treatment group, let's again construct a case. Now, suppose I build a drug and I call it Nish's magic drug, Nish's MD. And I claim that Nish's magic drug treats skin cancer. Now I collect 30 people and I want to use them as a sample to establish causation between my drug and its ability to treat skin cancer. Now, in order to have conclusive evidence that my drug doesn't indeed help treat skin cancer, I need to have two groups to kind of give me a comparison basis for it. And that's where we bring in the concept of a control group versus a treatment group. A control group and treatment group can think of them as two because they contain the same number of subjects, and they share all the same traits. The only distinction between the two groups is the treatment that they receive. The control group receives the placebo, and the treatment group receives the treatment. And once we conduct the experiment and have a long enough duration, if the subjects in our treatment group significantly show significant improvements in the skin cancer symptoms over the subjects in the placebo, the control group, we can then start to establish a causation because we've controlled it for a large local variables. So that should cover control and treatment groups, and that brings us to the final concept for today. In experimental design, we are trying to control for bias and misrepresentation, and that is why we usually conduct a double-blind experiment. In a double-blind experiment, neither the subjects nor the person administering the experiment, the researcher, knows which subjects belong to which category. And this helps us eliminate bias and misrepresentation, and is the most robust way to build an experiment. So that is why it's called double blind. It involves two parties being blind, the subjects and the researchers. All right, I think that does it for today. If you have any questions, you can meet me in my office. Thank you.